What's up? What's up? I'm back. Just got to finish my part three. I got cut off last night. My ass wasn't doing it in live or whatever I did this shit the other day. Um, I'm about to take that lighter. I hope I ain't got shit in it. But what I'm about to say, pretty much, man. Just to finish what I was talking about. I was talking about being light as a feather, and I was talking about American gods, and pretty much the last little thing that I was thinking about, bro, like when he was saying that this one girl didn't believe in nothing, so she didn't even get a chance to weigh her heart because she was just so fucked up in the head. She took her heart off the scale, or she fucked up some shit. She was very arrogant, or just whatever, and she didn't believe in anything in her past life, like. And it's not necessarily meaning Jesus or motherfucking God, but like she didn't believe in anything, and when it was time for her afterlife, she had nowhere to go. And for a lot of people, when they see that, I'm like, well, I have my Jesus, or I have whatever you believe in, Buddha, whatever the fuck you believe in, Maya, whatever the fuck you believe in. That's where you think you're gonna go to perfect whatever, harmony, wherever the fuck. And this girl didn't have any of that. But for me, when I looked at it, I'm like, bro, that's just perfect shit I be talking about when I say, for instance, what I was about to say. Perfect shit I be talking about when I say we get set in our ways, and whatever ways that you kind of have, that's what you go into in your next world. So whatever beliefs you have, bro, like if you under fear of somebody else, or say you fear Jesus or you fear the Almighty or whatever, and His wrath and all that shit, you're gonna be in that same type of world in another place where somebody's over you and you fear not being in their right, not being, not, how do you say, you fear not being righteous under their regime. So you feel like you can get your head cut off or some shit like that. But in the sense of like say it was under a dictatorship or a king or some shit, which is pretty much the Bible is in a sense. I'm just saying my perspective, but whatever. But in that same sense, like for me, how I look at life is like, bro, I want to be in a world where there's people like me, where I have people like I'm not in my own world. Like I don't want to be by myself. Of course, I know what loneliness is. I want to have people that's like-minded like me. And not exactly like me. I don't need no followers and no shit like that. But some people that can challenge me and also make me think different and think even on a higher level, a change perspective, or more holistic perspective. That's the kind of space I want to go to in my heaven or whatever. Like, not gonna necessarily be all yes men around me or no shit like that. I don't need no shit like that. That's not heaven to me. That's some bullshit ass human shit feeding egos and shit like that. But it just that's how I feel, bro. Like in American Gods, he explained it perfect, bro. Like the shit that you want to manifest, the shit that you really want in life, bro. That's what your heaven will be. And if you don't believe there's anything after this life, in a sense, like of course you won't have anything to really go to. You'll be in darkness. You'll be lost. That's what he said. And in that sense, that's not horrible. You're just gonna have to find yourself out of that darkness, and that's a phase that everybody go through. You're gonna be lost. You don't have anything to really hold on to. You don't have a world to gravitate to. You just be lost. And if you don't believe in shit, that's what most people are, lost in that sense. They don't have anything that makes sense to them in a sense. So that's what really atheists are. If you gave atheists a good argument, I'm pretty sure you could change their perspective if you had a certain amount of knowledge or some shit like that, or proof in their eyes. But for me, a lot of people think I'm atheist or some shit, don't believe in God. No, I just believe in my own way. I believe we have our own powers and create our own heavens and shit like that. And yes, just like we create our own powers, we can create our own creatures and all that other shit. So if you want somebody to take care of you, you can find it. Heaven or whatever. Just saying, bro. I don't know if this is coming off. I don't know how this shit coming off actually. Really, I'm just trying to express myself, but it's like that's how I think about this shit, bro. Like, for instance, like if I was just a jock or some shit, like bro, I want to go to a world that's full of athletics and different competitions and shit like that. I wouldn't want to be in a world where they didn't allow competition, where everybody won, everybody was a winner. If I was a true competitor, I wouldn't want to go to a world where everybody was a winner. I want to be on top, type shit. So you see what I'm saying? Like every world and everything is not meant for certain people and certain energies and spirits that they have, or the spirit or energy that they have. Well, hold on, let me get out this story real quick. I need something to drink. I just got off work. Yeah, I was wondering, walking home. I want some cheeses. What's that smell? Spicy. I want some spicy food too. I don't want to lose my thought. Where was I thinking? What was I talking about? Oh, athletes and shit. We got some petroleum jelly. Hell to the yo. Need this shit. What's up? What's up? I get 3 Rillos HD green. How much that shit is? Ooh, $3. $3. So I said, I mean, it's sadness, so. Thank you. All right. What I was talking about? Oh yeah, just being like, say if you was a jock, you wouldn't want to be in a world where it's full of just everybody's a winner type shit. Like nigga, how could I ever establish that I was number one if everybody winning? Like in that sense, of course, like yeah, this is just saying, like any whatever. I was about to go into some deep capitalism shit. Like I'm like it's impossible to have a system, but let me stop. That's not my point. But yeah, just thinking of, let me think of another example. Like, bro, if you was a explorer of like books or anything, like if you just say you was a intellectual person, you wouldn't want to go to a world full of jocks where it was nothing but physical tasks and nothing, no mental competition, everything a physical competition. Like, bro, you would dread being in that world. You would feel like you was in hell. So that's how I kind of look at shit, bro. Like it's not necessarily about you know being under a savior or some bullshit. That's how I see it. Like, nigga, I'm not about to, I mean, unless you want to be under somebody. But I like being pretty much in my own destiny, my own control. I don't want to be able to blame somebody else. I don't want that energy. I don't need that shit. This shit weak. But yeah, I mean, that's how I look at this shit, bro. And American Gods pretty much showed that, like, after you die, the first lady that was, she even explained it like this, bro, just to show you, like, it ain't no, well, I lied. But this just to show that long as this American Gods had a great example. The person that was the Reaper, he was from Kemet or Egypt like belief, like in a sense of if you had to believe in Boss, like from when you talk about like Black Panther and shit. And if for example, the lady was a Muslim, and she was like, well, why are you accepting me when I'm Muslim and your deities or whatever is like this? And like it's not, it's just saying like why is the Buddhist God accepting me if I was Christian this whole time? And this is what he told her. He was like, well, when you were younger, your granny used to read stories to you about bots and all that and shit like that. And he ended up saying, through that, you always kind of kept a belief slash like just you just kept those morals and things that she taught you and read to you. So now, even though you a Muslim when grown and shit like that, you still had that knowledge put into you. So now we're here to grant you what you've earned, which is, access to your heaven or whatever. And that's when he gave her the option to go through like 4 different doors. And she ended up going through the middle one, but whatever. I don't think that had any significance, but trying to think what else happened. What else? And he was just saying, yeah, so for my example is what I'm trying to say is like, for instance, say how like you think you gotta cold-heartedly believe in this one thing or something like that. And it's like, bro, I don't know how to explain it, bro. From my interpretation, I'm just saying like, long as you on your right path, bro, like it's going to work out for you. Like you're gonna end up where you're supposed to end up. As simple as it. I mean, it's pretty simple and cliche, but it's that simple. She don't like. She probably. Oh, I was like, bro, left my keys. I was about to say, she probably didn't remember none of those stories in the sense, like, say, if it was real life. I know it's just a show, but she probably ain't remember none of them stories. She probably don't remember the morals and stuff she learned from that shit. But the fact that it was still in her, and bro, it's a bunch of different ways I can go with this, but I really don't know which way I want to. Let me find my keys first. Sit the fuck down. All right, well, let's see. What I was trying to say is, bro, like, we also set in thinking, like, whatever we believe in is it. And that's fine, do you. I'm not going to argue or whatever, try to sway you differently. I'm just saying it's not even about full-heartedly believing in somebody that's just like that, like a boss or whatever. Yeah, that might be in their message, but I'm really feeling it, thinking and trying to explain this. It's gonna come to me. Maybe it won't. But I just go on to the other girl, back to the girl that that was going into darkness and shit. That didn't believe in anything. Like, what's the difference between not believing in anything versus this lady that believed in Muslim, but she believed in the wrong God? Like, the fact is they believed in something. So it's not about what you necessarily believe in, but the fact you believe in something. So that's kind of what I was trying to say. Like, yes, like even if I don't know, bro. I don't know. American Gods kind of did throw some little tricky shit in there, especially from what I'm trying to explain. Like, it could throw you off from what I'm saying. Like, in the sense of he was like, say if she never studied boss at all, would he still came and granted her those four doors or whatever? Because she still had beliefs, but maybe a Muslim God would have came. Maybe the Muslim God is not as powerful as the boss God. So there's many questions that's still left there, but I'm not necessarily sure. I'm not even gonna want to answer all those. But my main thing is just saying that the fact that one person believed and the other person had no beliefs at all. No matter what you believe in, like you that like everybody gonna go to their own path. Like as long as you have belief in that path, like that's where you're heading, wherever it is, like whatever space or world you think of and think that's where you're gonna end up going. Even if it's hell, like some people fear that they're going there just because that's what they're taught and that's what their energy is being sent. And pretty much until you can reverse that feeling and those thoughts about if I do this, I do that. If I keep doing this, I keep doing that, I'm gonna go to hell. Then I mean, you gotta release that fear. But those are your beliefs. You have those fears. So why do you think that it won't happen? Same for somebody that thinks they're going to heaven, bro. Why don't you think that won't happen? Like, bro, how could you tell them not? Like, if you believe you're going to hell, I believe it too. If you believe you're going to heaven, I believe it too. Like, that's kind of how I feel. But trying to think, man. Like, you know what I mean? It's just a bunch of ways to look at it, honestly. But my thing is, like I said, bro, you believe in what you want to believe in. Believe in, like, for instance, when you look in this world and you look out into the open and you just see all the different things, you be like, man, I don't like this about the world. I don't like that about the world. I don't like this about the world. Like, you're dating this world and then you find certain things that you find certain qualities that you like about this world. You're like, well, if I had a little more of this, I'd be a little happier. So now say above you in your heaven, say you got like a little treasure box, and every time you find something in earth that you like and or whatever, you can now translate that into your heaven and be like, all right, well, I like love. Just say everybody like love but don't like hate. So in my next life, I'm gonna use a lot more love than I use hate in a sense. And say you find what's maybe another energy you like. Um Fuck, man. Or it don't even have to be an energy. It could be an experience or something. Like, I like having sex. Like, some people don't like having, like, I mean, I don't know who, but there are people that's less sexual than others. Some people love the fuck out of sex. Like, all right, well, I'm going to be a sexual being in my next life, and I'm going to be comfortable and free in being sexual, whatever that, in that world. Um, Same for the dislikes and shit, too, though. Those things kind of go into that world too, and those would be like filters. Like the world would be, bro. This is getting kind of, it's not deep, but it's just getting kind of hard to explain. For instance, all right, so say, I'm trying to think of a good way to explain it. Okay, but the things that you like or whatever, that's like gonna be the foundation that the world is built off of. The thing use this more. I can I like this, just whatever makes me. This makes me motivated. This makes me do certain shit. This makes me inspired. This makes me more creative. Those would be the foundations that your heaven will be built off of. But the shit that you don't like will be the the borderline of your world in a sense. So your world would be like protected by these filters that won't let any of that the shit that you don't like in. So there's like the shit that you don't like. So say for instance, like just like your Twitter feed, the shit that you don't like, you can filter out, bro. And it just your world just gets so concise to the shit that's like the people that you like, the people that you fuck with, the information and content that you fuck with. That's how like your Twitter feed and how you want. I don't want to see no more unpopular opinion. I don't want to see no more this or that, nor this or that. That's how your world will kind of be. Like it'll be like your Twitter feed. Like how niggas want their Twitter feed to be perfect. You're trying to create your heaven on Twitter type shit. Nigga, you need to be trying to create your heaven in your spirit. Find a shit that in this world that makes you irk. And be like, nigga, I can never do this again. Like working for people, I can never be under somebody in my heaven, bro. Like, no. And the fact that I don't want to work under somebody also makes me understand that I never want to be under somebody anyways and be dictated to the thick shit that they decide is right and wrong. Like just like Jesus or any other fucking Buddha or any other person, Mayat or any other person besides outside of me. I got my own rules and shit. Like it's a lot of shit that's on my yacht that I understand completely and I completely agree with. But what if there was one thing I don't? All right, I'm not gonna just disregard my yacht and be stupid. I'm gonna be holistic, but I'm not gonna just be like, oh well, since she got that on there, I guess I gotta change everything. Like, nah, nigga, you can take and pull for certain shit, bro. You don't have to like grab the whole concept. Like this, like that shit from my I'm getting speaking too fast. I talk about this all the time. Like, I don't cold-heartedly say the Bible is 100% facts, but yes, nigga, there's shit you can pull out of it. So same for any other fucking form of moralism and shit like that. Just because there is a certain amount of moralism, like when I talk about this on a podcast. I'm like, yeah, I understand it, but I would never do it. So in that same sense, like, say if I understood it and say I might take some of what they do, but I won't do everything they do. Like, yeah, I can understand how people do. I don't know. I'm not even really saying shit in the sense of examples, but I'm just saying it's little shit like that. That's what I'm saying now. We're pretty much trying to create our heaven on Twitter and on these social medias. And even on this earth, we get caught up in trying to create our heaven. And I get it. It'll be a mini heaven on here. But understand you're trying to find that grander whole thing because the only reason you got a mini heaven here is because the other restrictions that just keep fucking with you that you know, the other things that you don't like. And like that's just my thing, period, bro. In this world, we learn a bunch of shit that we don't like before we ever find something that's good. That's how you know it's not necessarily our heaven. Like if you was in heaven, you'll walk you'll walk through your garden or your kingdom and you'll see a weed and you're like, oh, let me pick this out. But in this world, we're surrounded by weeds and we be like, oh, look at that one flower. That's the difference. Like, yeah, in your heaven, you might have little things that get through those filters, but it's easy for me to maintain that because I'm in my heavenly state. I'm in my most higher state in a sense, or not my most high, but one of my most highest states. Versus I'm in my lower state where I'm surrounded by weeds and I barely see light of day or anything super positive. I see it every once in a while. Like, and that's kind of how we are here. Like, yeah, there's a lot of things in this world that are good, but we go through a lot more bad than we get to the good. And that's just me showing you kind of what this world is. And it might not be hell. Maybe there is worse than this. I'm not even gonna disregard that. There is worse than this. Even more strict and more dictator rulership. This really is, like I said before, I battle myself when I talk about this. This is the purgatory. This is Midgard. This is the middle. And this is pretty much that's why we can open our pineal gland. Like that's why we here, like to open that gland in a sense. Like you need to find the middle ground and that balance and shit. And once you find that holistic view, you start to open up your third eye more versus being in right side or left side, which would be, whatever you consider bad or evil. Like some people consider the feminine bad, some people consider the masculine bad. Like right now, everybody considering Adam as the nigga that bit the apple in a sense because everybody talk about masculinity be horrible, but the past 300 years it was Eve. But in that same sense, you need to find balance in between both because yes, there's negativity or negative things that you can pull out of woman, a feminine, and there's negative things you can pull out of masculine, same as the positive. But the fact that you get so caught up and not balanced, you're not really opening your third eye. You're not being holistic in so many other different things. But this is Midgard, so um, and Midgard can fluctuate in a sense. Like you can end up seeing it's all about balance in a sense, but you can be in that side where it's mostly darkness, or you can be in a side that's mostly light. You can find that in this Midgard place, like in the sense of yin and yang. Like say you can be right and split in the middle, or you can be right wing, you can be left wing. When they talk about politicians and all that shit. So yeah, you can be more in the darkness, and even though there's a bunch of just this other shit out there, that's all you really kind of see, and that's because this is Midgard. And that's also what they present to us, negativity when it comes to music, when it comes to whatever. Like they present the darkness way more than they ever present light. When it comes to news, when it comes to most shit. Like we're gonna see the light, and it might be just as much light out there as it is darkness, but that's not what we see because that's just how Midgard was set up at this current moment and current space that we in right now. It might have been on another time in life where yes, there's just as much equal bad shit, but we're only pushing out the good shit. And you could also say that's propaganda too in a sense, because it's like, bro, tell me the truth. I want to know everything. Don't just show me the good shit, because you can say that too. Like that could be misleading if you only show me the good shit. And just like how it can be just as traumatizing if you only show me the bad shit. I think there's no other good shit out there. So I mean, this is Midgard, and that makes the most sense. Like, yes, you can find worse than this. Yes, you can damn sure find better than this. But at the end of the day, just understand that this world is here for you to figure out, test, and experiment, and just be able to figure out what do you want to do in your life. Like some people might want to start over and go back to a lower state because where they're at now in this mid world, it's just not enough for them. So they need to just reconstruct and shave away everything they got. For instance, a girl was on Twitter, it's like every time I take mushrooms, I feel like I want to kill myself. You might need to go back to that darker spot because where you came to now is so stagnant and you really can't get out of that. Now that's just from what all she presented to me. If we talk more, I'm sure I could help her expand and give her a different perspective. But just from what she's saying, like if you take shrooms every time, and it's not even about the shrooms, it's just some internal shit. If you always feeling suicidal, bro, that's because you just don't have faith in your path and what you're going through in life. So it's not shrooms' fault. That's not even necessarily. It's not your fault, but in that same sense, because your parents force you at a young age, and so many different things happen to us. But it comes to a point you spiritually just want to start over, and that's what's kind of causing your suicidal thoughts. And you can definitely just stop the bitching and shit and just find a better perspective, a deeper and stronger perspective and will inside of you, because it's definitely there. If it's not, then I don't know what to tell you. But if you really truly don't believe that, like, hey, I just don't know what to tell you. But for instance, yeah, I just think that for people that you can't, it's not bad that you're going back like to. I guess this is what I'm saying. I guess this is where I messed up earlier. When I say there's places worse than this, it's not necessarily worse. It's just it's kindergarten. Say when you it's just kindergarten. So I'm not gonna call it worse, but to say if I was if I'm a senior in kindergarten, I'm like, bro, this shit trash. I can't talk to nobody. Like literally, I can't talk to nobody. Not even in a dating fashion. Like I can't communicate to a level that they will understand. Period. Like I'm your parents, nigga. Like we're not even the peers. So in that same sense, if I was to use that girl example, say her preschool teachers didn't really teach her how to read properly, or maybe they told her A was B and B was C, and like they fucked up vocabulary. They your whole foundation of learning was so fucked up. Like you think 1 is 2 and you think 3 is 5 or some shit like that. So when you in this world, shit's just not computing. So you like, bro, I gotta go back and relearn. So in that same sense, you like, let me go back another world and go relearn some shit. In that same sense, it's enough information here where you can just relearn it. But for some people, they don't understand that. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not the person to judge you. But you gotta understand everything stems from self. Don't blame no shrooms, don't blame no anything. Like even if like I said, you might not been 100% in control because we're not that we're not in heaven, and even when we did, like, sorry, and even if it was in heaven, like we probably have 90% control. Like I said, those weeds will still pop up, but right now we might have 50% control. Well, I said we're in Midgard, so the other 50% that keep fucking up your life and shit like that, you like, bro, I haven't learned the tools to get past that 50%. They're here. Like I promise you, they're here. It's inside you. That 50% you believe you have, or like I'm just for example, I got if that 50% that you have, trust me, it's inside of there. You just have to dig through, find it, reshape it, reorganize it to get past that other 50% you feel that's holding you back. That's all I would say. And it's technically not holding you back; it's just making you stronger. But that's all perspective. But that's what I say to people that take shrooms. And the girl tries to shit on me. I've taken shrooms 8 times. Like, bitch, I'm 8 to 10. I literally lost count. But I think I'm over double digits. And like I said, I haven't never felt suicidal. I've never felt suicidal when I taken shrooms, but I have felt like wanting to die and be like, fuck this life. I have felt sad and I have felt shedding. I felt a lot of different things, bro. You go through shit during shrooms, but at the end of the day, you are meant to see that. You're not gonna be presented with some shit that you're not meant to see. And if you keep being presented with some shit and you just cannot believe it and you want to kill yourself, bro, that's just a lack of perspective and understanding and loving yourself. Facts, bro. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to tell people, bro. Like, and it's fine if you don't love yourself right now. It ain't always about love. Sometimes you need to hate yourself so you can fix yourself better. Like, you need to probably hate the suicidal version of yourself. Like, there's versions of myself that I hate that I know that's easily tempted and easily manipulated. But I can't let them sides. Like, I know they're still there, but I'm not gonna necessarily hate them. I'm not gonna necessarily try to kill them because I just know everything has its purpose, and if I get manipulated, it was meant to be, so I can learn from it deeper, whatever. But that's my understanding. Like, so I'm not gonna try to just. I'm not like I said. There's a certain idea you can have war with yourself when you really need to go there, and if you're suicidal and all these other shit with depressed, and you can't get out of that shit, it is time to go to war with certain shits. But at a certain point where you can't keep just killing shit, like you got to understand there is a purpose for that being there in your life, for that energy, and you being that type of person is like for a reason. Like if you're a standoff type of person, like yeah, you might want to be open up and be able to get to know people, but don't just kill that standoffish person. Like nigga, being off to yourself, and it will have its benefits. Trust me, in the long run. But it also has benefits to know people too. So it's just people try to pretty much hate themselves and hate themselves probably more than they love themselves, and the love they have is not unconditional. So it gets distorted and so fucked up where, bro, after so long you just get into a tornado or a whirlwind or just a cycle of where you just uncontrollable spin type shit. You just start and then you just like a spaceship in space, bro. Like once a spaceship gets off course type shit, and like say like it's kind of hard to get it back on course. Like say if you if it starts spinning out or some shit uncontrollably, it's hard to get it to stop doing that because it's not enough, just scientific shit. Like it's not enough pressure and all that different shit to stop it from spinning out of control. But that's just what I'm saying. Like once we're so powerful, once we start spinning uncontrollable, as like what Newton say or whatever they say, something has to be just as powerful to stop us. And the only thing that would be just as powerful is a good enough foundation to stop us from being spent uncontrollably. And that's what I would say. But man, I hope y'all got me, bro. I know somebody understood. I know real niggas hear me, but besides them, just for the people that's just kind of easing their way into this. Like I wish, like for me, when I make these videos, I try to be able to talk to people that's in kindergarten, people that's in college, people that's are professors. Like I try to talk to everybody in that same field, like people that's in high school, everybody in different levels of spirituality. So I just try to be that person I don't want to be the nigga that just use big words and I only can talk to professors and shit like that. And I don't want to be the nigga that just got to dumb down shit and baby you and like, no nigga, I need you need to understand the big picture from the jump, honestly. So when you come to my page, that's how I look at it. Of course, in your own life, you might want to take baby steps. I would suggest that I've taken baby steps, but at some point, bro, them legs get strong enough for you to run. And at this point, I want to be able to speak to the sprinters and the niggas still taking baby steps. So, shit, I'm trying to talk to niggas that's really trying to take that sprint into flight, nigga, on the runway. Like that's really the niggas Those are my niggas. The niggas that's on the runway waiting for their waiting for the runway to clear up, or niggas already in air. Like them, the niggas that I truly ultimately bond with in a sense, but I still ultimately get the people that's in high school and middle school spiritually. Like, bro, I was there. At certain points, I can still go back and like reminisce and shit. Even being that moment now, like, bro, for instance, nigga almost made me snap on them at work, and I wouldn't have been mad at myself if I snapped because I went back to my high school self and like, nah, nigga, you're not gonna disrespect me. We're gonna have to get this work. Like, I wouldn't have been mad. Like, I might have been disappointed in the sense of like, bro, I lost financial gains or some shit because if you're the father, nigga, I lost my job. But probably, you never know. I probably could have finessed, but most likely you lose your job in that situation. So for me, just to say, let's say I didn't fight him, but I got into an argument with him. So not necessarily I went to middle school and fought him, but I went to my college days when I started arguing with niggas more and stopped fighting niggas as much. So say if I got into an argument with him, like I don't like arguing with niggas no more because I already know, nigga, if you're stupid, you're stupid. There's no really knocking you off of that path. And then say if you really believe in some shit, don't gotta be stupid. If you really believe in some shit, it's not too much I can really tell you otherwise, unless it was just to add on to the shit that you believe in. So arguing always gets to a point where, nigga, where are you trying to go with this? Are you really debating, trying to find a middle ground, you a bipartisan, like a whatever, like, or are you just trying to argue to feel better about yourself? And for most of the time, people just trying to argue to feel better about themselves, and I don't have time for that shit. So when I say going back to high school, that's what I mean, like making me feel better, making sure niggas like, hey, ain't nobody else in this bitch gonna have me fucked up either. Beat anybody ass on the street. That's what niggas used to say. Like, let me do this one time so I can give examples to others and shit. Ego shit and all that other shit. But say I would have argued with him, I wouldn't have been mad at myself because the nigga deserved this shit. But like all I'm saying is I can easily go back to my middle school self, my high school self, and hoe a nigga out or argue with a nigga and be just as degenerated or whatever. Like nigga, I'll never get off of that shit because that's in my existence that I'm in now. It's in my human existence. That's in my makeup. It's in my DNA. So I can always go back to that shit. Yeah, I might be better than that. I might not stay in that constant state of mind, but trust me, I get just as ignorant, and that's what I think. That's a lot of people' problem with lack of understanding this world. Like the shit that you see usually is not what's inside. The niggas that you think hard, a bitch inside. The niggas that's letting you make it, really want to fucking rip your fucking head off, but they letting you make it. But trust me, when they rip your fucking head off, don't be looking at them like, oh, what happened? Like, nah, nigga, it was in me. You just was ignoring this shit. So that's how I kind of say it. Like, yeah, nigga, like people want to be like, oh nah, I ain't even. I'm past that and shit like that. Like, nah, bro, it's always gonna be in me. Like, period. That's when I talk about, like, when the dude was talking about lust and shit. Like, bro, that shit gonna always be in you, bro. I'm not trying to hear all that. I'm holier than thou and shit. Like, yeah, you might be holistic in thought, but nigga, the body's still not. Like, period. And you need to get those releases off, those pressure points. Like, period. If you're not releasing pressure, if you're not balancing your pressure, you're fried. Facts, nigga. Like, you're gonna be like these plants out here over blowing up and shit, nigga. You're fried. Like, nigga, if you got too much makeup, like, if you got too much pressure building up, bro, you're fried. You're going to blow up, nigga. And I mean, if that's your goal, cool. But I'm just saying. Well, I'm out of here, bro. I feel like I gave y'all enough game. Watch American Gods, bro. It's a great fucking show. Especially if you're into the spiritual messages, bro. Don't take whatever they doing as, oh, this is holier than thou, but just peep game and the messages that they're speaking, bro. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, nigga. Keep the bathwater dirty. But yeah, man, I gotta use the restroom, bro. I just got off. I need to eat. Look, gotta feed myself too. Feeding y'all niggas just all this game. Trying to feed myself some food.